Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Ladies Wrestling Showcase. I'm Astrid. I'm here with my partner, Mel. I'm still getting used to this side. Sorry, Mel. How are you, Mel?
I'm doing fantastic. We used the fun intro today. I was bebopping along and worried I'd get caught when we came in on the
Listen,
show here. How are you doing today?
I'm good, good. It's one of those days that this is the first time we pre-recorded an episode, so you guys know we're not live right now. This is the first time we do this, but it's a topic that came up that I figure you and I could talk about being women in the wrestling community. And
Hmm.
it just I feel like we get a lot of comments here and there from people and not a lot of women speaking up about what just everything that just happened. So I thought it would be
Hmm.
interesting for us to talk about Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Women's 150 that just came out, I believe, yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully I
Correct.
got that right. Okay. I figure we could just talk about the top 10 at least and just kind of give our opinions on the people that we do know have knowledge about, because I thankfully there's a lot of people from Stardom and you have knowledge about that end of it, and I can help with the other end of it, so we can complement each other in that way. But I
100%.
figure we could talk about at least the top 10 and maybe kind of name a few of the people that we thought could have been a little bit higher up than they were, maybe a little bit lower based on the criteria that they have, which is something that I wanted to start with.
Hmm.
They have a criteria of they have an evaluation period, which is from October 1st, 2021 to September 15, 2022. And they also account any ring achievements that they had, any influence outside of the sport and stuff like that, and win and losses, all that stuff. So there's a little bit of everything when it comes to the rankings. It's not just one particular thing that they look when they rank these women. And I figure with the discussion that's happening in social media, it will be a good time for us to discuss it. And then maybe, depending how it goes after today, maybe we'll have another part 2 and talk about the rest of the 150 and just give our insights to the people that we saw there, and maybe the familiar and not so familiar faces, because I feel like it's always a good way to introduce ourselves to new talent, because I'll admit myself, I don't watch Stardom. I don't know how to pronounce the names. I don't know who they are. But like I said, and I told Mel before starting this is my way of getting introduced to them and knowing their names and knowing their achievements. And it helps me kind of, get familiar with them, and it introduces me to them, and it incites me to watch them, which is something that I haven't done. There's so much wrestling to keep up with, and it's just hard to watch everything. So I admittedly don't even watch everything. Even AW lately, I feel like I've been in the back burner for me lately as well. But it is what it is. So I feel like for me, I can't speak about Stardom at all because I don't have a knowledge about them. But I figure that's why we have Mel here. She has that expertise about Japanese wrestling that I don't have. So we complement each other very well, right, Mel?
100%.
So
Yeah, let's get into it, Astrid, because man, this top 10, we had
yeah,
some doozies. We had some doozies on this one.
yeah.
Um, I don't know who you want to kind of start chatting about here if you wanted to kind of work our way down from number 10 to number
Yeah.
one. I mean, Tay Valkyrie, number 10, correct?
Yeah, I we bought the digital copy so we can have it in time to be able to do this episode and discuss it. So we were looking at it at the same time as we were doing the discussion.
They'll be
Um,
flipping back and forth.
yeah. So yeah, we have Taya Valkyrie with number 10. I believe she went from 126 that she was in 2021 to number 10 this year, which is a huge jump. But she's one of those people that I believe ever since she got released from NXT, and I feel like I know it's not her fault, but I feel like the NXT part of it wasn't the best I have seen from Taya. I feel like she could do more than what she'd done in NXT, not only as a wrestler, but it's in her character as well. I feel like
Mhm.
in her wrestling, we didn't see her wrestle often, and I wish it was more, because I knew of her name and I seen videos here and there, but I had never seen her in character, and that was the first time I did, and I expected and I wanted more from her, but I know it's not her fault either in that aspect of it. But I
Mhm.
feel like she's one of those people that, like Diana, for me, ever since she got released, she has done so much, and she has done so many things outside of WWE in so many different companies. She has like what 4 or 5 championships at this point. I lost
I
count.
think so, yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's a new belt collector for me. Can you make a who? No, it's
Right?
Taya. And I feel like I like her that it's not only different companies but in different places as well, because she
Mhm.
went from being in Impact to being the Reina de Reinas champion in Triple A as well. And just like, what? It's just
Mhm.
incredible. Think about it. And I cannot like her having number 10. I really don't have any complaints about this one. What did you think?
I actually have to agree. It's very telling that like you said, she came out of NXT, WWE, having not really done anything and or at least anything that we really want to kind of talk about going forward. She came out and just kind of hit the ground running, didn't let the experience affect her. But it just really does show you that it doesn't matter if you are the biggest company in the world. I mean, you can make it bigger somewhere else. I personally feel that that's what she's doing. I mean, I feel like we're talking about her more that she is with Impact, that she is more with AAA. And if anyone can get a hold, I mean, I found it on YouTube. If you can get a hold of the Reina de la Reina match of Taya Valkyrie versus Camille, holy Hannah Montana. That was an utterly incredible match and showed exactly what it is that Taya Valkyrie is capable of doing on her own, let alone with a tag team on Impact. I'm not happy, or sorry, I'm not unhappy about where she is on this list either.
Yeah, just like it's incredible thing. She captured the Reina de Reinas championship from Diana.
Hmm.
She has the featherweight title from MLW as well,
Hmm.
and she just recently won the Knockouts tag team titles as well. So just imagine that just happened just in the last couple of weeks and last
Hmm.
couple of months to think about, and it shows what somebody can do, and they have the freedom to do what they can do, and it's just incredible thing of the talent that she has, and she
Hmm.
has done so well. I think if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to count them, but I think she has at least four, maybe five championships right now, and she's
Wow.
working with so many companies like Impact,
Hmm.
MLW, and NWA, AAA. Like, what else
Hmm.
can she do? She's doing so much already, and it's incredible to think of like these are the things that happen when they get that liberty that she didn't have being in NXT. And when she got signed to NXT, I had hope, knowing a little bit about her from Impact, that she will bring that kind of charisma and that character,
Hmm.
similar at least to NXT. But it wasn't the case. But at the same time, that's why I think releases are kind of bittersweet, because obviously you don't want to see
Hmm.
somebody lose their job, but at the same time, look at what's happening when somebody like her got released and what she's done so far.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that I don't disagree with anything you said there. That's 100% the truth. Like if she's done more in the last few months to really kind of solidify her in one of the top female entertainers of this year, to be honest. Um, I unfortunately didn't get the opportunity to meet her when she was here. I do hope she comes back so I might be able to see her the next time. But man, yeah, what a year for her. I'm very proud of her. Very proud of her.
Yeah.
She came from this area, I believe. She had
Mm.
left not long before I actually started going to the local shows here.
Oh,
That was pretty
nice.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll leave number 9 to you now.
Number nine, number nine. Oh, yes, my girl, my Starlight Kid. So, Starlight Kid, I did have to look up a little bit of information on her. I thought she'd been around a lot longer just because of the reputation that she has in
Mhm.
stardom. So, Starlight Kid, I found out was only 21 years old. She's very,
Wow.
very young, and I'm taller than her. Like, goodness have mercy, I am so proud of this. She's only 4'11". I can't
That's
tell
my
you
height.
I can't tell you how happy I am that I found a wrestler smaller than me. She debuted in 2005. So or sorry, 2015, not 2005. So she's had about a 7-year career. She is actually predominantly a lucha libre style wrestler. So she is included in that high speed division in Stardom. That is essentially, for those of you who don't know, it's essentially like a 205 Live division of stardom. So like the small, the fast, the unreasonably talented. That is where you're going to find Starlight Kid. Starlight Kid has had her career start and continue with Stardom. She hasn't really wrestled for many other companies, but she did help form the stable within Stardom called Stars, who Mayu Iwatani is currently the leader of that. Before she actually was kicked out of Stars, they have these matches that are almost like WWE drafts. So essentially, if a team loses, the winning team gets to pick a member from that team to add to their own. So in this case, Stars had lost the match. and they lost the match against Oedo Tai, who is the we'll call them the resident bad guys of Stardom. They Stars lost, and Starlight Kid got picked and has been on Oedo Tai since as a bad influence, and arguably wears the sassiest pair of sassy pants on this faction. She isn't the captain, though I would make a strong statement that she is second in command, as she does tend to command the microphone quite a bit. She is as talented on microphone as she is in ring. Her lucha libre background just makes her unreasonably fast, reasonably quick. She has this amazing stretch muffler move, Astrid. It is incredible. Not only does she get the leg over the head, but
Mhm.
she will actually lay down and lock your head with her leg so that you can't physically crawl away. And it is notoriously
Mm.
difficult to get out of a stretch muffler as it is if you're in a regular position,
Mhm.
to have your head, and then she'll lock your arms also, to be completely locked into that. It's a really unkick outable pin. If you're looking for someone who's got that high energy, high speed, can do submissions, also is getting weapons involved, but still looks really really super cute in a little lucha libre mask doing it,
Mm.
Starlight Kid's going to be the girl you want to watch.
Nice. Yeah. Now I'm definitely, after seeing the picture with her mask on, I was like, I'm curious about her.
Oh,
But
she's
even
so cool.
her gear alone just reminds me a little bit of Io Shirai and the style that
Very
she
much,
has. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I did like the style that she has going on, though. It's pretty
yeah.
cool.
She actually has this really cool like intro jacket where she actually has the masks of people that she has defeated,
Mm.
who used to wear Queen's Quest in particular. They actually used to wear a similar style mask just for their entrances.
Mhm.
As she's defeated them, she's kind of collected their masks and sewed them to the inside of her jacket just to open it up and be like, look who I've beaten. I really quite like her look. Just
Mm.
everything about her is very, I would almost say, a little bit sassier version and maybe a little bit quicker version of Alexa Bliss, if that's the kind of style that you
Mm.
like, with maybe a little bit more lucha libre tendencies.
Oh, I like the description already. I'm sold.
Good way to get people's attention, right? Everyone loves
Mm.
Bliss.
Yeah, very true. I think we can go now to number eight. Number eight is none other than the queen herself, Charlotte Flair. Um,
Mhm.
for her top moments that they put in the evaluation period, they put in her pinfall against Ronda at WrestleMania.
Mhm.
She was last person eliminated from the Rumble as well. Her beating Naomi in February, and I believe, let's see, yeah, and the title defense that she had against Tony before Tony Storm left WWE.
Mhm.
This one, I feel like I didn't know how I feel about it, but
Mhm.
it just because I feel like even though, yeah, I get those moments that she's had. I'm not discrediting Charlotte Flair in any way because Charlotte Flair is
Mhm.
incredible, but it almost feels like she's been out more than she's been wrestling this year, or like
Mhm.
between these last couple months. And it just, to me, it doesn't justify having her as number eight because I feel like she's been missing more than she's been in action recently. And
Mhm.
she, even with Triple H, like, we still haven't seen her. She still hasn't returned, and even we have like her posting pictures every now and then in social media, and so is Andrade. So we know she's good, but something must have happened there. I know that at least I saw one of his tweets not too long ago that he said she's been missing for a reason, and then she'll probably do an interview sooner or later and to discuss why she's been absent. But I feel like I wouldn't have put her on number eight at least. I feel like could I gone to somebody else? Hopefully later on we'll discuss who would like to be maybe our top 10, but I feel like it doesn't justify having Charlotte here. To me, at least, the only thing that really stands out is like that victory over Ronda. Not a lot of people have really have victories over Ronda Rousey in WWE
Mhm.
since she debuted, and being one of the last few people in the Rumble. As we all say, is like being those like the last four people in the Rumble, very important to like watch out.
Mhm.
And Charlotte was one of those. But aside from
Mhm.
that, I really don't see something that stands out to me from Charlotte that she has done this year to make her number eight. I don't know if you have any thoughts, even though you probably haven't seen much of her at least.
I'm actually a big fan of Charlotte Flair. Um, Regardless if she's heel or face.
Mhm.
I always have been, just because from the moment I saw her, I knew she was exactly like her dad. She knows how to turn it on and be good. She knows how to turn it on and be bad. And she knows how and what to say to piss the crowd off. Like she's learned very, very well how to control the crowd and have them pretty much give her what it is that she wants. You know, when when some of our friends, for example, we won't shout out who, sit there and are like, Charlotte Flair, you know, I don't feel that she didn't do anything that she didn't want to do to not get that reaction, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
She wants that animosity. She
Yeah.
feeds off of it. I feel like it gives her the confidence that she needs to come out and do the job that she does. Um,
Yeah.
that being said, though, as much of a fan as I am as Charlotte, I do have to agree with this statement just simply based on the fact that she hasn't been around a lot. You know, and she did get married. I can understand you want some
Mhm.
time, you know, the honeymoon phase, have some fun. I'm just saying, Andrade is working also. So, but obviously, again, there is obviously a reason why she isn't working. So hopefully we will find out, you know, where what her status is with professional wrestling soon. But in the meantime, I do agree. I think the spot probably could have been given up to somebody who had been putting in the grind throughout that time period that they were, you know, taking in that kind of all of the credentials and stuff. But I do think she deserves to be on the list, but I
Yeah.
definitely don't think it should have been top 10.
Yeah, definitely agree. And just, based on what I mentioned about Andrade, if it's something bad that happens to her concerning, my well wishes to her. And
Hmm.
hopefully it's something that bad that she can continue on wrestling because it's something she
Hmm.
has loved doing for the past couple of years, entertaining us. And
100%.
we don't want her to stop doing something that she loves either. So,
No,
I,
selfishly, she's really good at her
yeah,
job.
very. So I'm still waiting for that moment when she returns, especially now under
Mhm.
Triple H's regime, because I feel like there's so many other girls that can mix up with her now that didn't have, like, that Charlotte Io Shirai, or maybe Charlotte with Dakota Kai, and a little bit of Shotzi and Raquel that we had now. And I feel like maybe now is the time to bring her up soon,
Mhm.
just because for me, SmackDown has been lacking when it comes to the women's division. There hasn't been a lot going on other than the women's, tag team championship kind of
Mhm.
storylines going on. So I think they do
Okay.
need that star power for that Charlotte does bring to the table, because Ronda isn't doing it for me. And I enjoy Liv, but at the same time, when you have Liv as champion and you only have people like Ronda built up enough to challenge her, then you're gonna have to go with Ronda, because Ronda's the star power out of the two. But at the
Mhm.
same time, I miss having Liv as champion, but I feel like they're missing that star power. And I like that somebody like Zelina's back, because she really brings eyes to the woman as a whole, because she's still, even though she's a manager, still she still wrestles. But
Yeah.
yeah, I miss having somebody like Charlotte Flair and her power and what she brings to the
Mhm.
table in the SmackDown Women's division. I really hope they bring her in soon, because they really need her in that part of the roster.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I definitely am missing Charlotte Flair. I do, you know, stalk her on social medias like most people have noticed that there have been she kind of went from posting multiple posts every day to posting maybe once every couple of days. So it's, you know, hopefully she's okay, and, you know, thoughts and prayers to her if she's not. And yeah, I do think that our next number is someone that I know a lot about, though,
Hmm.
and that would be the great Saya Kamitani. Saya Kamitani. This is a very interesting one for you, Astrid. I'm curious to see what your opinion is after this. Saya Kamitani, very, very young. She is known, I believe,
Hmm.
as the Golden Phoenix, um, which I don't have the problem with, because the way she stylizes her gear, her entrance gear in particular, the robes almost look like wings. So she looks
Hmm.
like she's flying out. She's got feathers. She's shedding everywhere. It's fantastic. And she also has this incredibly elegant, choreographed entrance point that a lot of Stardom girls actually have, where they time their movements to their
Yeah.
music and everything. I absolutely love it.
Hmm.
But Sam Kamitani, this is the interesting part. She was originally a dancer on Stardom. They had
Hmm.
almost something sort of like a Nitro Girls thing. Didn't
Yeah.
last very long. But I guess Saya Kamitani is such a talented dancer that she's actually been in competitions and stuff, like high level competitions for dance. It's incredible. But she debuted in Stardom with very little training in 2019.
Wow.
2019, so that's 2 years ago, maybe give or take a couple months, depending on the month. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't give me the month when she debuted, but she has been able to build herself within the company to win multiple championships. She is the current Wonder of Stardom's championship, or sorry, current Wonder of Stardom champion, which is essentially the intercontinental champion of Stardom. So she's the second highest level champion with only 3 years of experience wrestling professionally. And now she's number 8 in her
Mm-hmm.
third year of wrestling. In like, how incredible is that? I can't. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes this girl, she's almost sometimes a little too over animated for me, in that where if you're doing a regular Irish whip into the corner and you run into the corner and it's whatever. Sometimes with her, instead of doing that, it's kind of like a wah into the corner.
Mm-hmm.
But it adds to the overall intensity of the match. And it's not ever something that doesn't make sense. She's always like, it's always for someone who's larger than her. So it's making it look like it's more powerful. Maybe she doesn't always know how to show it, but the entertainment ability that she has, her in-ring ability, I would almost to describe her as like compare her to a North American wrestler that people would probably know. I would have to say that she's almost a more reckless Seth Rollins, in that she
Yeah.
has that, yeah, she has that technical ability. She can fly, she can hit hard, but she has some really reckless moves that look really, really, really rough on everybody else. But just like Rollins, she goes above and beyond to give you that above the level entertainment that Rollins does. But she doesn't do it in almost a way where it's obnoxious, where he's sitting there like, "Huh." Like, she does it in a way that's ladylike and worthy of a championship. So yeah, that's number 8, Saya Kamitani, Stardom Wonder. Sorry, yeah, Wonder of Stardom champion.
She's actually number 7, so she's even
Oh,
higher than what
7,
you
sorry,
explained.
7, yes.
Yeah, I noticed that in the spread. It just when I look at her side of the spread, it just 3 years of experience, and it says previous career for former member for Japanese pop group. What? Say like never would have thought about it, but I do love her gear. Like at least the one in the pictures, a very turquoise and like blue and a white to it,
Mhm.
especially when it with the white belt on top of it, it complements it so very well. And even the stills like they have in the spread here as well from her in the top rope, like you said, it just looks, everything in her gear looks incredible when she's flying
Yeah.
as well. It's a nice visual to have here.
Yeah. I call her Mrs. Fringe because she does have almost an unnecessary
Yeah.
amount of fringe, but it adds so much because it does look like
Hmm.
feathers. And it
Yeah.
adds to the idea that she is the golden phoenix,
Yep.
rising from the
And
ashes.
yep. Next up, we have number 6, who is the juggernaut of Impact Wrestling, Jordan Grace. This is to me a big one. This is definitely to me, she definitely deserves to be in the top 10, especially with how she's been in recent months.
Mhm.
Um, she, believe if I'm not mistaken, yeah, she was she won the Queen of the Mountain that they had, the first Queen of the Mountain that Impact has had, which is I think one of the few matches that I never thought like the woman would ever have because I didn't think about it that that wasn't a first. She won the Digital Media Championship at Bound for Glory as
Mhm.
well. And see what else do we have? Yeah,
And
she,
what a great match with Cardona for that too.
hmm yeah, and I think and she also having the Knockouts title. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she's the first Triple Crown for the Knockouts in Impact as well, which is something huge to think about when it comes to Jordan.
That's
But
impressive.
Jordan has been killing it, and I know this wasn't part of the moments because of the evaluation period, but even thinking about it, when I think of Jordan, I think of this match that she had recently with Masha Slamovich that Cody and I reviewed, and uh, it was incredible to watch, and just and her transformation that she's had to look at the way that she wants to look. It just gives you that determination of like
Mhm.
I want not that I want to look like her, but it gives you that determination to work hard to look the way you want to look for your own
Mhm.
self. Um,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
I certainly want to look like her. She is body goals.
yes. Um, and I think even just like for the match itself, not only the presentation of the match that they gave us, but her gear looked incredible. Usually she has that one piece, and this is the first time we have her in a two piece. And her hair, the championship, it was like I feel like the total package just from the entrance itself.
Mhm.
But I feel like Jordan has been doing so great at putting her name out there, and it's one of those things that there's no way you haven't heard about Jordan with everything she's been doing in recent months. I don't know if you
Mhm.
have any thoughts about what it's been like for her recently.
I'm just gonna flat out say it. She is one of my favorite North American female wrestlers. I have been following her for quite some time. I started following her because of how she looked, and actually because she was starting to compete in like what were they, like powerlifting competitions and stuff. And
Yeah.
then she started breaking records doing
Mhm.
powerlifting, and I'm like, yo, yo, she is absolutely incredible. Like as I just mentioned, she has body goals. I mean, I follow her because I like to just thirst trap over what she's doing with bicep curls and whatever. And you know, and then her partnership with Jonathan Gresham, I mean, that can only help build them both up, right?
Yeah.
And they have such a cute little family of five little puppers. I will say, if I can criticize her about one thing, she
Yeah.
does seem to have a foot and mouth syndrome sometimes, where she bleh, something out onto social media or an
Mhm.
interview or something, and then immediately regrets what she said and has to start
Mhm.
doing the PR backpedal. I would be the only thing I would love to see her improve upon, maybe. I
Yeah.
know myself, I could probably learn how to improve on that. Let's do it together. But yeah, I definitely feel that she definitely deserves to be at the level that she is in this list. She definitely worked so hard,
Mhm.
not even just over the last year, but the last few years, just fighting to get where she wants to be. And as you said, it is something to admire. To see the confidence and the drive come out from someone, it definitely is something to admire and idolize.
Yeah. Another one that I really enjoyed, and I feel this is just like Jordan. This one's very justified for me. Number five is AEW. That one, the Jade Cargill. It just wow, it's incredible. Just like with yours, it just she has only 2 years of experience, and she went from number 50 to number five. Just that's an
Mhm.
incredible improvement. But she's been doing incredible in AEW. She's has been improving so much as a wrestler, and
Good,
even
good.
looking back now at the time of this recording, I'll clarify she's 39-0 in AEW as well. So pretty soon we'll probably have that 40-0 that we're expecting. And
Mhm.
if you think about it this way, no matter who's been thrown at her, she's defeated them all in AEW. So just
Mhm.
with if you think about it this way, with that winning streak that she has and having the TBS championship with her since the beginning, I feel like that championship was made for her, and to the point like
Mhm.
she's elevating it so far as champion, and having the baddies by her side and all these matches that she's had so far. And so many incredible people from like Madison Ray to Ty Conti, or if you want to call it Ty Mello, um, Anna Jay. She's defeated so many, and it's incredible to think about it. So I definitely see it justified that she's number five in this top 10. And not only that, but a lot of diversity in this list, including Jade as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm not really like an AEW regular viewer, so I've only kind of seen Jade Cargill when she's kind of like done the big shows. I think the last time I actually watched a match with her, this is gonna like be horrible, but like the last time I think I saw a match with her was I want to say Forbidden Door. That was the
Okay.
last time I saw her.
Mhm.
I wasn't unimpressed. I'm not recalling anything negative or bad about that night, so I'm gonna assume that it went really well. um Again, like this isn't really a show that I watch, but I have heard a lot about this woman in particular. And what I have noticed trending, particularly on my Facebook groups that I'm involved in, is she's getting a lot more love now than hate. And
Mhm.
that's what I like to see, because that to me means that there's drastic improvement happening and that the people are happy about it. Before, like when she first came out, I remember seeing a lot of people complaining about her and like saying that she was like the AEW Nia Jax and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa, We don't need to stoop to that level, guys. Give the girl a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like she's really taken the initiative and really gotten, like, it sounds like she's gotten a lot better. It makes me happy to hear. That being said, I have no problem with her being where she is. She's clearly worked hard, and like, look at her. She's clearly worked hard to look the way she does. I wish I had abs
Mm-hmm.
like that, man, especially after a baby. Goodness.
Right.
Haven't even had a baby, and I don't even have abs like that.
No, definitely goes for sure, especially body goes for her. And I feel like she's one of those people like she keeps growing as a wrestler. I feel like it's also one of those people that AEW can also use to bring up their product to people that don't know about wrestling because she's marketable in that way. So I think that's also very
100%.
helpful for the company as well, which is what I like to see in a wrestler. You like to see them not only being your champion, representing you on TV, but representing you outside of TV when they promote your product as well,
Mhm.
which is something you can do with Jade, like very certainly.
Yes. 100%. 100% agree with you there.
And then we have next for number four, none other than the man, Becky Lynch. Um, for me,
Ironic.
Becky, for me, Becky Lynch is very similar to Charlotte. I feel like Becky has been out for a little while, and I'm not saying she hasn't made an impact in in her months when she's active, but I feel like
Mhm.
she's been missing for quite a little bit of time. Um, but she still, when she still shows up on TV, she still, that spotlight, she has it for herself. And I feel like one thing that I love about Becky is that whether she's a face or a heel, whenever she does her promos, she delivers them in a way that she sells her opponent to you in such a great way that a lot of people don't do that very often. And I
Mhm.
feel like even in her matches, she still carries on and she still highlights that person, showcases them even when she's victorious in the end. Like imagine her, like you would have never thought, like when you think about it in this sort of view, you never think about Becky Lynch competing for the 24/7 championship. But at the same time, when you think about it, her having a match with Dana Brooke, which is something you probably expect when you think about Becky Lynch, but it's still just a way for her to like kind of highlight that championship and highlight Dana as well, while the match was happening.
Mhm.
But I feel she's been doing incredible. And when she was champion, she defeated Bianca and Sasha at Crown Jewel. Um, and then Survivor Series, she also defeated Charlotte Flair, and she won her match against Lita as well for the evaluation period at the pay-per-view as well. So I feel like she's done incredible, and she when she was champion, she was doing very well, and from selling the matches to selling her opponent, and even like being iconic with her looks to the ring because her looks are iconic at this point. The way she dresses every week. It's unfortunate now that she got injured at SummerSlam, but her match and her storyline with Bianca having that whole year storyline between them,
Mhm.
I probably one of my favorite parts of like long term storytelling that we had in recent times. It's unfortunate that she's out. Hopefully, she'll return back pretty soon because I feel like her versus like Damage Control and with Bianca now when she does return, I think that will be interesting to see. But I do hope that we get her maybe outside of the championship for a little bit of time because I feel like she's been in the championship picture for a little bit too long. And I would
Mhm.
like to see somebody different with Bianca, especially after having basically that whole year storyline together. I don't know if you have any thoughts about Becky Lynch as a whole and her position here.
Yeah, I agree in the same stance that I believe she's a little highly ranked considering how little she was available, um, or how little she was around. I disagree with the outfits. I think there's just something about the eyeshadow that's supposed to be on top of the lid being under the lid. It's like, we get it. You have bags under your eyes. We all do. Deal with it. Um, that being said, though, still super talented woman. I still really enjoy watching her wrestle. But as I said, I don't like how highly rated she was on this
Mhm,
list, just because she wasn't around nearly as much. And as I mentioned, like she may have had those good couple of wins, and that might mean 100% win. But if someone wrestled 100 matches and only won five, they're still more active than she was in the calendar year.
mhm,
Um, so yeah, I am conflicted over this one. I don't necessarily feel that she should have been as high as she could. I definitely think she probably could have been top 20, but I
mhm.
don't think she should have been top 10.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Like maybe like 15, 17. That kind of odd number area.
Yeah. Next up for number three, we had AEW's Thunder Rosa. I feel like Thunder Rosa, she did a lot of stuff and a lot going on for her.
Mm,
She went from like beating somebody like Serena Deep and her, long time feud at this point with Britt Baker as well. But she, retained against Tony and she went against Britt, the first women's cage match in AEW as well. And she beat people like Nyla, and she also won a three-way that included Diana and Mercedes at WrestleCade
wow.
as well. So this one, to me, she's done incredible in her time in AEW, and she's done what she could with the time she's given. This is
Hmm.
just kind of like it reminds you a little bit of what I said earlier with Taya. This is
Hmm.
not entirely her fault either. Her booking hasn't been the best as champion. I wish it would have
Hmm.
been better because when it was her time with Britt, and when you knew that her victory is coming up, you were, well, at least for me, I was super excited for her to be pushed the same way that Brit was. That's kind of my
Hmm.
expectation. And being how didn't happen that way, I was disappointed when we barely saw her on TV as champion. And I feel like
Hmm.
that's not a fail on her end of it, but I feel like whenever she was on TV, she took advantage of it. She gave us entertaining matches, and she played off very well with the ladies as well. At the moment, she is injured with a back injury, so that's why she's been out for a little while, and that's why she's still technically AEW Women's Champion for the moment until she returns and she gets to face Toni Storm, who's the interim Women's Champion, and then we'll crown the undisputed, I guess, Women's Champion after that happens. So it's similar to what's happened now recently with John Moxley as well in AEW. So we're gonna get that Tony Storm Thunder Rosa match sooner or later, to unify the titles in a way. That's the part I don't like about it. I don't like the interim stuff. I would have preferred, even as a Thunder Rosa fan, I would have preferred for her to give up the title. And it's
Hmm.
like whenever you come back, then you can just say, "Look, I never lost a championship. I want that match," and you could get that Tony Storm Thunder Rosa match. And it's just awkward to announce Tony as like interim champion, but at
Right.
the same time, it is what it is. I'm not in the company, so I can't even say anything about it. But I hope that when she does return, she's able to have that highlight. Because I feel like even with Tony being champion, now she's been highlighted. Not similar like Britt, because I feel like Britt was almost there every single week in some shape, way, or form. But Tony Storm's pretty close to how Britt has been. We've seen her wrestle very often the past couple weeks, so she's been in TV at least and shown on screen. Versus with Thunder Rosa, we had her missing like in and out very often. So I do hope that maybe, when she does come back, we do get to see her more often on TV when she has the build up with Tony for their match. But
Hmm.
I don't want to say I don't want her as number three necessarily, but I feel she does belong in the top 10 with everything she's done recently and with her representation as well. To think like, she's a Mexican American woman here representing Mexico as well in AEW, and being Hispanic myself. It's just incredible to see things like this. She, especially with her entrance that she had. But I love my Meta, so I'm happy that she's in the top 10. So how do you feel about her being there?
You know what? I think she's actually like, this is one of those things where, again, on my Facebook pages, I actually find that Rosa's getting a lot of hate for being as high as she is in this list. And I have to disagree with a lot of people who are kind of saying that. Um, Only because it wasn't just AEW where she was working. She was everywhere else. This woman did not rest. You didn't see her sitting there taking pictures of her in a bikini on the beach going, "Oh my God, day off." No, every single day she was doing a promotion thing. She was throwing a pitch out at a game. She was a special guest somewhere. She was wrestling here, there, and everywhere. She was going to Mexico. She was coming back to the US. She was going all over the place. She put the time in, and clearly, like, she's got the wins. Like the criteria says, in-ring achievement. These are going to be wins and losses. She's clearly worked a lot more than a
Mhm.
lot of the women on the list. Not to take away from them or to say, oh, you shouldn't be taking vacations. But what I'm saying is she is number three because she was Mrs. No Days Off. She was Miss Fred Rosser this year. She had no time to herself. She did not eat tacos. She just wrestled and did the work that she needed to. I think she's exactly where she needs to be. And I think that she worked hard enough to earn that spot. but that's just what I think.
Yeah. No, and if you think about it that way, you're very right in that end of it that she's been everywhere. You know, she is part of the people doing Mission Pro Wrestling. So you see her very often at the shows, not only doing meet and greets, but actually having matches with, you know, with the people that are training there. And you see her
Mhm.
often jumping doing indie events so often. So she's not just doing AEW, she's showing up everywhere. And not only that, but she was there as champion with that AEW championship and you know
Mhm.
representing AEW no matter where he went. So if it that aspect of
Mhm.
it, you do see her everywhere, just like you did with Taya. So it doesn't
Mhm.
surprise me that she's in the top 10. You know, she deserves to be in
Mhm.
that high spot. She's been everywhere to put up her name out there, and she's done exactly that. So I don't fault her for
Exactly.
being here either. But yeah, I'm hoping she comes back soon and we get to have that match between her and Tony because it'll be interesting to see who they
Yeah.
you know they pick to be the champion at the end and how they go moving forward after that too.
Yeah. And I do have to say, I do agree with you about the interim championship thing. I don't like it. I never have. I've been very critical of it. Particularly, it started with John Moxley running off with the IWGP US title. I don't like that. He should have given it back. I do agree that Rosa should have given it back and done exactly what you said. It just makes more sense because yeah, saying oh this person's the interim championship, I feel like it twists a little knife in my heart because it's like it almost is sort of saying that the person who is this interim champion didn't quite deserve to be in that situation. And I don't like that
Hmm.
because Tony Storm 100% deserves to be in that situation. She worked hard to get there. So I feel that it devalues it a little bit and almost makes it like a bit of a joke, which I don't think that you should be attaching to your championship,
Hmm.
especially such a high level championship. That's the women's championship.
Yeah.
That should be something that's actively, fought for on a regular basis. And though I am sympathetic to Thunder Rosa's, plight, and she's got a back injury, that's not something you want to take lightly, especially if you want to do this for the rest of your life. But I agree, the title should have been relinquished. Tony Storm should be just the AEW Women's Champion, and yeah, that's how I feel about that.
There we go. Um, as number two, we have none other than the EST or WWE Bianca Belair. Honestly, from my end of it, I thought she was gonna be number one again. I really thought she was gonna end up being number one. So I was surprised that she's number two, but I can't argue this either because it's still a great ranking.
We'll talk
Um,
about that when we get
yeah.
there.
Because to think about it, they put the rankings and she was in 2018 number 85 and in 2021 she went to number one and now number two. So it's incredible to think that even between 2001 and 2002 she's still in the top 10,
Mhm,
in the top
mhm,
there in
mhm.
somewhere.
And
And
she's lost some high profile matches too.
yeah, you got that right.
Yeah.
And, she's had so many matches, like incredible matches with Becky as well. And not
Mhm,
only her match, it's still a crown jewel. Her Becky and Sasha, still incredible match to think about.
mhm,
She won the elimination chamber as well, so it's incredible to think like having a women's champion defend her championship at that kind of match and still coming out as
mhm.
champion in the end. And even just beating Becky Lynch at SummerSlam, it's just incredible moments that you think about. Um, and another thing, she also had beat Becky Lynch and Asuka at Hell in a Cell as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, she had a few with Carmella as well. She beat her too. So just I feel she's beaten so many other people. She's been highlighted so very well on TV. And just like Jade, I feel like she's one of those people that she's been highlighted very well outside of WWE as well, even as
Mhm.
champion. The way she does media, I feel like she's everywhere with that championship, and I say that in a
Mhm.
very positive way. I promise you
Yeah,
that.
oh, yeah.
um, she's one of those people like she's very marketable outside of wrestling as well. And I feel like even if she
Mhm.
didn't want to wrestle or couldn't wrestle anymore, I feel like she does have a future in the entertainment business as a whole because she's incredibly
100%,
talented. But I feel like
100%.
as champion, she's been doing so well. She's one of those people that she didn't do, let's say, not a lot in NXT when you think about it that way compared to other people. So you never
Mhm.
really expected her to be this way in the main roster, and it's incredible to think of like how that transformation happened. And she's one of the few that has been doing so much better in the main roster than she did in NXT. And not to take away
Yeah,
from what she did in NXT, obviously, but still, she's doing a lot better than what she did there, and she's been champion for so long and still involved in the championship picture very often too. So I love the moments that she's had in WWE so far. She's done incredible, so I can't argue with her being number two. Did you have any thoughts about this one?
You know what? I mean, I'm emulating her a little bit today with two braids. I can't quite spin it in the dark, but ever since she came onto the scene, I can't even tell you how much that I have been trying to master that little spin that she does with like
Mm-hmm.
that slight. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I can get like 2/3 the way around and then I gotta fumble my feet, but we'll get there. Um, I definitely feel that this is deserved. She, like you said, she's everywhere. She is marketing her championship. She is marketing the WWE. She is doing exactly what I expect out of a champion. She's making the rounds. She's putting herself out there. I don't really, like, in recent memory, don't really
Mm-hmm.
recall anybody else being so out there as her. And even like with her husband at her side for it, it just makes everything so much better. But her matches, like, I gotta tell you, this woman just shows up, shows out every single time.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a bad match with her except for the Becky Lynch thing at WrestleMania, which we don't want to talk about because that was just bad. But yeah, I definitely I really have had an eye on Bianca since she kind of debuted. Again, I'm not really a big WWE person, but from the pay-per-views that I have seen and the clips that I've seen, the talk that I've heard, she is the woman to be right now. She is kind of the top of the ladder, even more so than Charlotte Flair, I'd almost say. She's kind of, as Macho Man would say, the cream of the top crop rises to the top. I can't do Macho's voice, but you know what I'm trying to
Yeah, the cream rises to the top. That's the closest I can do.
do. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about her. I definitely feel where she is definitely deserved.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll leave number one to you.
Oh, number one. This one surprised me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, I know the incredible talent that this woman is, but I didn't know that anybody else knew. So number one was Suri. Suri is the World of Wonder Stardom champion. So she is the red belt champion. She is the highest ranked champion in Stardom. She is the person to beat. I actually didn't realize this, but she's only actually been with Stardom since 2020. She's
Oh.
been having a career in wrestling and various other things beforehand, but she's only actually been a part of Stardom since 2020, which it says it was a return anyway. I couldn't find any information about her first stint there, but yeah, she when she came in 2020, she joined another popular girl named Julia to form, or sorry, to join her in her stable known as Donna Del Mondo. And then, so Suri is 33 years old. So she's a little older than the other two girls in Stardom. But she's had quite the background. And I think once I tell you what it is, you'll understand why she's number one.
Mm-hmm.
On top of being a professional wrestler, she's also a shoot boxer, as
Mm-hmm.
well as a kickboxer and an MMA specialist in karate. This woman is a beast and has also participated in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Just to put into comparison, I would say if you are a oh come on Mel Ball, is it right? Brian Danielson. If you're a Brian Danielson fan and you like his strikes,
Mm-hmm.
you will love Suri. Suri is literally, I would almost say, an even more expressive, more emotional, and almost just as hard hitting a wrestler as Brian Danielson. Yeah,
Wow.
that guy. Whatever his name is now, I always get confused. But yeah, Story, every hit lands. She knows where she's going and it hits every single time. But what also makes her incredible is that she is one of those people who gives as much to her opponent as she gives to herself. At the end of the
Mhm.
match, she looks just as strong as the opponent, and the opponent looks just as strong as her. It really comes down to who can outlast who. And usually it comes down to Suri. But if anyone is a Stardom fan and has recently taken in the 5-star Grand Prix, you'll know that this actually happened after the criteria. Otherwise, I don't think Suri would be number one. There was about, I think she did about 8 matches in the Stardom Grand Prix, and she only won 5 of them, I believe, taking several high-profile losses to a couple ladies. So, Suri, she also has been having quite the year, where she's been kind of diving into fighting some of the past Stardom big girls, like Nane Takahashi as well as Kairi. So, does she deserve to be number one? I mean, to me, heck yeah. She's been
Yeah.
kicking her way up there since she started with Stardom. And at one point, when I actually was starting to watch Stardom, this woman was what I would call the true belt collector, because she came out in 3 different Stardom titles. So she had the official Red World of Stardom belt, which again is the top belt. She also had, I always forget what the name of it is, and my notes are downstairs, but it was another belt where um, you can only challenge for it if you are not the same nationality as the person who holds it. So
Mhm.
it's just kind of a way to invite international girls to kind of come in and challenge
Mhm.
for the title. So she had that belt as well, and she also was one half of the Goddess of Stardom champions, which are the tag team champions. So she would come out with these just incredible star-shaped belts, draped in gold, looking like a red assassin. It was a sight to behold, and an intimidating one to be sure, because she, when she turns it on and she gets that beast face mode going, she's a scary looking lady. She's kind of Baszler level scary.
Mhm.
So maybe don't piss her off.
Yeah, I think it was interesting in seeing the discourse that we had in the community when this happened yesterday,
Mhm,
and a lot of people saying like, it's because she's not in the major companies like AEW and WWE. I feel like a lot of people are dismissing her as number
mhm,
one, and just like I keep thinking about it this way, just because I haven't seen her or maybe heard from her doesn't mean she doesn't deserve to be number one.
mhm,
It's like I feel like it erases her accomplishments that she's had in the company, what she's worked her
mhm.
so far for. So even
100%.
like me, I don't watch Stardom, so I don't know their names or anything like that. But I can say, oh, she shouldn't be number one because of this. Because she's done great things that I missed. So it
Mhm,
doesn't mean you can't dismiss what she's done in her work, which I think was
100%.
something like I disagree with, and I saw that discourse happening on earlier. That's what sparked my interest about having this conversation with you
Mhm,
here today. And I'm looking over like some of the little facts about the issue itself of like the 150 for the PWI, and it's
mhm,
the first time somebody from Stardom becomes number one, which is an incredible thing for representation. And I feel like it just brings you that topic of like there's more wrestling outside of WWE and AEW, which is very important as well, because a
mhm,
lot of people will think like if it wasn't AEW and it wasn't WWE, like I feel like it doesn't count, and it shouldn't be that way. I think it's a way to open the eyes of a lot more people and introduce them to these talents that they see on this list. You're just like, oh, I never heard from her. Let me watch her, and
mhm,
maybe open up your eyes to see different styles of wrestling and different companies and different aspects of it that I feel a lot of people really don't pay attention to, unfortunately.
100%.
Um, so I feel like it's one of those things. Another little fact that I noticed, we have people like Anna Jay and Jessie Jane who debuted in the PWI, obviously being the first time there.
Mhm,
And what I saw in the fun facts from them, if I'm not mistaken, the biggest jump that they had for somebody was Liv Morgan, who
mhm,
jumped 120 spots in this year. So that was an incredible thing and ranking for her as well, just pretty interesting.
mhm.
And we have just two. I'm gonna try to name a few of them because we may do another part two depending how with how we go about it later. Just to discuss other people that are not in the top 10, but we had Tasha Steeles from Impact was number 11.
Mhm,
Definitely one that I feel is very deserving, just winning the Knockouts Championship for the first time in the Ultimate X as well. And she's
mhm,
been doing a lot of indie bookings as well. So I see that one there. And
mhm,
Britt Baker as well. She did great as AEW Women's Champion. and holding that title for 290 days. So just incredible thing. Like she's number 13, and Masha Slamovich, she's had an incredible like undefeated streak until now. She had the match with Jordan. So, I don't see anything wrong with her being there either. And people like Mickey James, I know, you know, the incredible Mickey James, of course, I'm glad she's number 15. Um, and people like Diana, who's another person just like Taya that ever since her release, I mean, she's been kicking butt, having so many championships, being in so many companies and being highlighted very well on Impact as well. Liv Morgan being number 17. I can't argue with that one either. I feel like even, from having Money in the Bank, winning the championship, she's been improving so much. She's been highlighted very much as well.
Mhm.
Um, I do want to say, let's see if I could find her here. And we know we have Tony Storm being number 25. One that I know Ed is gonna be really surprised when he says and hears this, but I'll calm you down
Uh-oh.
later.
Simmer
But
down.
I was very surprised, I would say, of having somebody like Mandy Rose being 21, just because Mandy has been
I agree.
champion now for a whole year. She's
Mhm.
been defending this NXT Women's Championship against so many opponents and taking them all down. It has been very like a highlight and very focus of NXT with Toxic Attraction. So I feel like with those accomplishments alone, and even beating obviously Blair Davenport, Microsoft more recently, how did you have her at 21? And just like I feel like that's an incredible resume when you think about wrestling in NXT so far, just alone. So I feel like what I would have liked to see her higher up. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that end of it for that one too.
I mean, I don't really, again, WWE is not something that I'm very privy to, so I'm not entirely, I don't really have much of an opinion on Mandy Rose. I can say when I was watching it a little bit more regularly, I wasn't a fan of hers, but that was also like a few years ago, and I recognize there's been tremendous amount of improvement that has happened since then. Do I think she should have been ranked a little bit higher? No, because that would have ranked her over my personal favorite, who is number 20, which is Utami Hayashi Shida. And I don't
Yeah.
want that selfishly. Sorry, Ed.
Yeah.
Um, but one person that I do want to point out to everybody, and I have been doing it since I discovered her, is number, I believe it was 42. Just double check here. 41, 41. Suzu Suzuki. Um, Please let the name definitely lead you to think about this woman, what you think. Her last name is Suzuki. She likes to hurt people. And she likes to do it with a smile and laughing about it, much like Minoru Suzuki. If you like Minoru Suzuki, check out anything with Suzu Suzuki. She is a 20-year-old death match specialist. She's a specialist at death matches at 20, you guys. 20. This woman is a badder bitch than most men I know. Just putting it out there. And she's so pretty. On top of that,
Mhm.
she is a freelancer right now. In Japan. She's a part of a deathmatch group named Prominence. The leader is a girl named Risa Sarah. I didn't check to see if she was on the list, but Suzu Suzuki is the one person that I highly, highly recommend everybody check out. I feel that she is going to go big places. You can ask Andre Como, my partner as well. We're both hard on the Suzu Suzuki train. Suzuki Boogeyman for everybody. Doesn't just need to be a Minoru Suzuki Boogeyman. We have a Suzu Suzuki Boogie Woman now. Y'all
Oh,
better watch out.
I love it. Another person that I really want to congratulate here, we have Casey Spinelli at number 79. Come on, that's amazing. Yeah, just incredible to see people that we know outside of the US in here as well. So just having her there, I think was incredible to look at. Trying to see who else like that I see here that it's a highlight for me too. Like Nicole Matthews, she's number 92, and I feel like Nicole has been killing it. Also, like I see her every single advertisement I see. I feel like it's a different company at this point. So it's incredible to see her making her name out there and showing it off in different companies too. So that's incredible to see as well. Let's see, and trying to see who else we see here as well.
Someone I did want to point out, I think was number 17, Azumi. She's another
Yeah.
girl in Stardom. She's actually the current high speed champion. This girl, I call her a quiet riot. She doesn't like to talk much on the microphone, and when she does, she does decently. It's not anything fantastical. She does most of her talking in the ring, and she is one of those people who moves so quickly and is almost like, I would say she's almost like a 205 Live person. So if I had to compare her to a wrestler on the scene right now that everyone might recognize, it would be TJP. She's got that incredible, almost lucha-esque kind of movability about her. But like Becky Lynch, she really likes that armbar. And she can actually get into that armbar in almost any way imaginable. And I believe she also does something very similar to Diana Perazzo's finisher, where she gets both the arms locked behind the
Hmm.
back. She does
Yeah.
something very, very similar also that has won her a number of matches. Um, yeah, incredible talent. If you guys are interested in that, high paced, high energy, like on the edge of your seat kind of matches, I highly, highly recommend you checking out anything with Azumi, as well as Starlight Kid, who was in the I believe she was number 8 there.
I know she was in the
So
top 10. Yeah, I think maybe 10 if I'm
yeah,
not mistaken.
Azumi and Starlight Kid are like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They're a fight forever pairing that you
Hmm.
just always want to see together, because somehow they always come up with something fresh
Hmm.
and new to entertain and wow the crowd. So definitely check those two out if you guys are looking for that kind of
Hmm.
match.
Yeah, another congratulations to somebody that's familiar to us too is Taryn from accounting. And here they list her having two championships in RCW, aka Real Canadian Wrestling, and
Mm,
still being and defending the LP. Well, she lost it now, sorry, but she had defended against Nicole Matthews, Rachel Elving, and Veda Scott the LPW championship. I think it was for
mhm,
more than 300 days, if I'm not mistaken. So it's incredible to see that accomplishment listed there as well for her
mhm,
here in the top 150.
mhm, mhm,
And trying to think of who else we can kind of mention here that we've had. But yeah, those are the few, some of the few that really stood out to me that are familiar to me. I also love somebody like Kayla Sparks, who I still am trying to reach out, hopefully for a future interview, and to see something like this, and to see her included here. But I feel like is I had the copy from I think it was last year, and if I'm not mistaken, the year before. And I want to order the physical copy of this one too. I just wanted to have the digital for this particular episode, but
mhm, mhm,
I think it's such a great way for to introduce me to so many people that I haven't heard of, or people that I had seen and didn't realize I had watched them, and just to continue on following their
mhm.
their careers as a whole. But I love more than anything with this top 10 is seeing the diversity we have in the top 10 here. Because I
100%.
feel like there's so much representation from Stardom to WWE to AEW, and I like having a little bit of everything in this top 10.
Mhm,
And I feel like it's different styles and different people and different backgrounds, which I really love to see. Um, so yeah, I just like hopefully we'll be able to talk a little bit more in the future. But
mhm,
I feel like so far I love seeing how many women they have, and to go from the fact that this list had I don't know if it was 100 people before, and now to like they had to extend it to do 150 to be able to fit the people that they had, and just
mhm.
imagine when they do 200 because there's so many people that were not even ranked to begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love seeing the people that have debuted on the list. So people that have made so many jumps, like Liv Morgan, because she has
Mhm,
improved a lot in recent months, and be able to like really show that in something like this is incredible to see. But yeah,
mhm,
overall, it's just pretty interesting to have a conversation about this, being that it's a
mhm.
PWA for the women's. Um, but yeah, I loved it. I don't know if you had any final thoughts about just the ranking as a whole. If anybody you saw there that maybe you didn't see ranked, or maybe somebody that you love to see here in the rankings though.
I mean, obviously, I've expressed my sadness that my favorite Utami Hayashi Shida dropped from number 2 to number 20. But that being said, like, she did have not a great year in comparison. She did drop the world title belt. she's had a couple high profile losses. So to be honest, I'm not surprised that she did have this significant drop, and a lot of people just simply had a lot better of a year than she did. Um, I have to say though, I love the same thing that you do is that it's getting people talking, and it's getting people talking about wrestling. And that's what I love about wrestling, is that it is so subjective. Everyone can find something that they like, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly fine, because what I like, you might like, and what you might like, I might not like. And that's great. What matters is that we like wrestling. Um, with this list though, overall, I'm very happy with it. And of course, if my personal biases would have moved a few things around,
Mhm.
but personal biases don't have a place in this kind of ranking and state. And I think all of these women on this list worked super, super hard, as well as the thousands of women who weren't included on this list. And there's probably hundreds of women who are going to be included on this list next year who weren't included on it this year. And I look forward to having the same conversation with you about who deserves to be where next year.
Yeah, I feel like it's just incredible. I think, yeah, this 150, like we said, are people that were not included. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to find the year exactly, but I think it's the first time, I don't know if they said since 2012 or maybe 2013, that somebody that isn't in WWE is actually number one. So it's incredible to think about like showing off, like I said, that earlier point that there's more wrestling outside of WWE and AEW, which are what people consider like the major leagues here.
Hmm, hmm,
But yeah, I love seeing this list and the diversity we have here on the different backgrounds and different styles and everything.
hmm.
But yeah, I can't wait to really sit down and look at it. Plus, I'm the kind of person that I like having my hard copy, so I like flipping over the pages and looking at all the articles and
Same,
everything.
same.
So I'm looking forward to ordering it and getting my physical copy and just be able to read it. And I just want to say congratulations to those women that made it here. And if you didn't make it, don't get discouraged. You know, there's always
Mhm.
next, the next time. It doesn't
Mm,
mean in any way that your work isn't seen. They just have a
mm,
criteria to it. So just don't get discouraged and keep working hard at what you're doing, because people are going to keep seeing you. Just keep showing out, because that's what these women did. They kept showing out and showing off wherever they were, and that's how their names
mhm,
were up here. So yeah, don't get discouraged because of that. I feel like,
mhm.
we're going to see different women next year, and it's going to be incredible to have a conversation about this next year when we see somebody different on the cover. And I love
Exactly.
another thing that I love seeing that cover with the three ladies from Stardom just in the front cover as well. Like nobody
I
WB
have to
related
too.
AW it's on the cover, which is amazing to see. But
I have to too. I have to say, it says, turns my little black heart not black.
yeah, and I also want to say, like, I thank you for everybody at PWI for doing this list. I know it's not easy being in a committee and working on something like this. I feel like,
Mhm,
especially when it comes out, you all get some kind of hate and backlash on the internet about the rankings of people's favorites not being when they're supposed to rank, and that's why we wanted to have this discussion, but to point out our opinions, but being civil
mhm,
about it as well. It doesn't mean you didn't do, a good job with the magazine and with the rankings. We just have different opinions and different styles, which is what we have in wrestling, as you mentioned. So yeah, just I want to say to people at PWA, thank you for making this. I just like it sparks still conversations within wrestling
mhm,
about styles and companies and and talents. So I hope even with everything you're getting, you still find a positive that you're getting to introduce people to new wrestlers they hadn't known about, and new products and new companies, and a little bit of everything, a little bit of new styles. For me, this is a good introduction to so many people. So that's why I'm excited to get my hard copy so I can start looking at these people later and hopefully reach out to some of them for interviews too.
mhm.
But yeah, I'm very happy to see this and to see the woman getting highlighted. But yeah, this is it for us doing the top 10 of PWI's Women's 150. But before we close out, where can the people find you, Miss Mel?
So you can find me on Twitter at Collins Melball, and you can find me on Instagram at Melball Collins. It's complete opposite because someone stole the other one on the other thing. You can also find me on Facebook at Melball Collins, and you can follow me on YouTube at Andre and Melball's Wrestling Talk.
Yes. For me, you can find me on Tuesdays doing Taking Over with Parrish when we talk about NXT, and then Thursdays at 10:30 p.m. with Cody Defoe, the Mr. Foe, as we talk about Impact on Making an Impact. And we also have replays on Backbreaker Media for Mondays for making an impact, and for this one we have it on replay as well later. This is the first time we're pre-recording it because Mel's going out of town, and this is a conversation I wanted to have. We both had it fresh in our minds
Immediately.
as before we forget anything. But yeah, just I wanted to thank everybody for watching it. Leave us, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and tell us anything, any discussions we want to have about the PWI women's rankings. So if you have any thoughts and that we didn't think about it, something we didn't bring up, we would like to see it in the comments. Just be simple about it, please. Let's have a regular person conversation though. But yeah, just give us your opinions of like if you would have ranked somebody a little bit higher, somebody a little bit lower, if somebody that maybe shouldn't have been where they are at, any kind of accomplishments you would have brought out and said that they didn't have. Anything you can think about, yeah, let us know in the comments. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for watching, and yeah, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all later.